Hi, everybody, and good evening, and welcome to the Dialogue in Love podcast, episode number 5, with your hostess, Goddess Love. This week, we're talking about unconditional love. Is it really possible? Now, in my humble opinion, I feel that unconditional love is definitely possible. However, um, some, of course, may disagree. But it just depends on the relationship between the people that are giving it and receiving it. Now, as always, I go to Google, and Google's definition is the act of loving someone without conditions or expectations. Um, it's when you love someone for who they are and you don't expect anything in return. And so I kind of feel like I'm going to go with the part where it says no conditions and expectations. So I think where sometimes we get off on the wrong foot with unconditional love is that we have an expectation that a person is supposed to love us because of who we are or what we do for them. Um, I personally, because I always speak from the heart, I'm always speaking from my own experiences and then my observances, and I'm only going to talk about what I know. What I do know is that we can't expect everybody to love us unconditionally, no matter who they are. Based on my own experiences, I feel like I have loved people unconditionally and I didn't get the same thing back. But where I failed was that I expected to get that reciprocated. And a lot of times that's where the problem comes in because you give expecting to get it back. So when it's unconditional, you give without any expectations. Okay. Now, you do have control over certain aspects of it. Like if you're not getting what it is that you really and truly want, you still can love that person, but it's like if it's draining you, it's making you feel bad, it's putting you in a negative headspace, it's taking a toll on you mentally, physically, and emotionally, that's not a situation you want to be in. I feel like when you give somebody unconditional love, that doesn't mean the same thing as allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. Okay. We have the expectation sometimes that as parents, love for their children and vice versa, the child loving the parent, there's like this unspoken or unwritten expectation of unconditional love. And it doesn't always work that way. I felt like when I became a mother that no matter what, my children gonna love me because I brought them into this world and they were created in love and therefore they're gonna give me unconditional love just like I'm giving them. And sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. You know, there's been instances where, I talked about this on more than one of the previous episodes where the word no can tear some things apart. As soon as you're not behaving in the way that people want you to, or giving them what they want, or saying what they want you to say, then that's a problem. And they don't want to speak to you, they don't want to talk to you, they don't want to deal with you, and the disrespect comes out. They speak things that you never thought could come from them because this is my child or this is my mother. Why are they speaking to me like that? And there are some people in this world who feel like that their parents are supposed to do things for them because you my mama, you my daddy. Why not? It's like we have this expectation as parents that our children owe us something. And as children, sometimes we have the expectation that our parents owe us something. Okay, so here's the long and the short of it. In my opinion, the only thing that the parent owes their child is to love them, Keep them safe and protected as they're growing up into an adult. Feed them, clothe them, house them, and educate them. Communicate with them and love them. To me, those are the requirements that are like an unspoken and unwritten rule when it comes to parenting. As a child, I feel like the only thing we owe our parents is to love them back, respect them, and just be the best person that we can be to reflect who they raised as a parent. Outside of any of that, we don't owe anyone anything. Okay. Um, Feeling like you're entitled to anything that your children have or being entitled to anything that your parents have once you become an adult, I feel like it's just kind of out of pocket. Um, because I'm the type of person where it wasn't nothing that I wouldn't do for my mother. I loved doing things to make my mother happy and to see her smile as an adult because she did the same thing for me as a child and into adulthood. My sister, my mother, and I, we all had at least one day out of the week where we got together and we sat down and we ate or we went out together shopping and we said, made a day of it. We went to eat. If my mother had a doctor's appointment, okay, well, I got a few dollars. We're going to go out to eat. Whoever had money paid for the food, whatever. And we just enjoyed each other's company because we appreciated each other and we loved each other and we wanted to spend time. We made that a thing. So, because it wasn't anything I wouldn't do for my mother, when birthdays, holidays, whatever came, even though she loved to shop and she had clothes and sometimes I just couldn't think of things to do for her. But if some concert or something came up, I would get concert tickets for her because I wanted to see my mother smile and be happy. If I had, my mother had. Now, when I became a mother and a wife and I had to put my priorities in order, if I had to make sure my house was straight, my bills and all that stuff was paid, and it would bother me if she asked me for something and I couldn't give it to her. I haven't been in a position where um, I've just been given things from my children because, hey, I got this lump sum of money and I just want to throw you a few dollars. I haven't had that experience. I'm not upset about it because these children don't owe me anything. But the first time I saw these things unfold in front of me where they were so giving to everybody, their friends and whoever else, and, they didn't give a second thought as to giving me anything, it was like, wow, I wouldn't have did my mom like that. But then I had to bring myself into reality. Like, they don't owe you that. They don't have to give you that. So when the expectation was for me to say yes when I had to say no, and I was told that I was wrong, and their deep seated feelings and opinions came out as to how they felt about me saying no, it was a shock to my system. But I've gotten over that. That's just a part of life. That's where expectations come in, and we shouldn't have expectations of people just because of who they are. And you know it's unconditional love is unconditional love without expectations or benefiting from it. All you know is you got this love from this person, and it's not because of anything that they're doing for you, anything that they're giving you, or any of that. They love you because you're a good person, you have a beautiful heart, and just they love to love you because of who you are. That's what I feel unconditional love is. And where we fail ourselves and others is having expectations. Now, when it comes to romantic relationships, it can be iffy. I feel like it can be possible. Like, you can love somebody through thick and thin, no matter what they do. You lost your job. Hey, I'll take up the slack, up until you can get back on your feet. um, you've been in a car accident and you can't do for yourself, hey, I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. I'm gonna look out for you, make sure all your needs are met. until you recover. And there's instances where people may not recover. They may, become incapacitated where they can't walk or whatever and they can't take care of themselves. And if you love them unconditionally, you're going to make sure they're good. I've also seen instances where people got left behind because they were incapacitated by somebody that they loved no matter what. They never expected that to happen. So sometimes it's easy for people to walk away when you being in their life is an inconvenience. Some people only want to deal with, and sometimes it's subconscious, I feel. Sometimes people don't realize that they're only dealing with you when it's convenient or feel some type of void in their lives. There's some people who only think of you when they want to vent and they want to dump all of their problems on you. There's some people who only think of you when they need money or when they need a place to stay or when they need a ride. Other than that, you don't cross their mind. Then on a positive aspect of it, you have those people who just call you maybe once a week or every few days just to check in with you. Even if they want to vent to you, they say to you, "So how you doing? Now that I ain't got all that out of the way, how's everything going with you?" Or they think about the conversation that you had previous. Well, that problem that you had with your cousin or whatever, how did that work out? Was everything okay? Or they remember you said you had a doctor's appointment. How did everything go? Get a clean bill of health? Because that person thought of you. They weren't just being selfish in their interactions with you. There is many ways where people show their true colors to you, whether it be conditional or unconditional as to how they deal with you. Some people do things with the motive of, okay, well, I'm just gonna send you this $50 in Cash App just because. And I'm gonna shoot you this text just because. They're sewing into something they need from you in the future. That's not unconditional either. They're doing what they're doing because they feel like you owe them something now. I don't want anybody to do anything for me like that if you feel like you're going to owe me. Even if you don't say it to me, I feel that energy and that vibe. Like, hey, I know you be struggling. So I'm going to send you, I sent you $50 in Cash App. Did you get it? Yes, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Then a week later, hey, how you doing? I'm good. Hey, can you do so and so for me? And if you say no, guess what they're gonna be thinking, even if they don't say it to you. I done did all this for this motherfucker. I sent her $50 last week, and now I asked her for a favor and she telling me no. That is not unconditional. I sent you this money and I did what I did because at some point you're gonna owe me. I'm not that kind of person. I don't do things for people to be like, yeah. When they can't do something for me, or if I ask a favor, which is something I rarely ever do. I rarely ask anybody for favors. Um, but when I do ask somebody for a favor and they tell me no, I respect that because nobody has to do anything for you. No is a part of life. You're not always going to get what you want. So you can't be upset with someone if you did something for them. And then when you need something from them, they can't give it to you or they won't give it to you. It's always optional. So I say all of this to say that when you love somebody and you say that I got unconditional love, if you really truly mean that, you'll do it, say it with a genuine heart, with no expectations of anything else in return. You're doing it because that's just who you are. And again, if you're not getting what you're giving and it's draining you and it's putting you in a negative energy, then that's something that you don't have to deal with. Because you can go get unconditional love just like you give it from someplace else. All right, so I hope this episode, as always, is possibly assisting someone on their journey. I always welcome questions, comments, and recommendations for topics, because I always say that as long as there's love, I always have something to talk about. So, if you all could, I'd appreciate you so much if you would like, share, subscribe, whatever it is that we do on these different platforms. I'm currently on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you could like, follow, share, subscribe from any of those, I love you for it and I appreciate you so much. So I am sending you all peace, love, light, positive energy, and healing vibes. And I'll see you soon, macarons. Bye.